As for President Nazarbayev's speech yesterday, clearly it wasn't an improvised attempt to find the culprit of the lost money and reprimand them. He knows full well where the money had gone. $10 billion were allocated on dealing with the crisis, 7 of which were spent on supporting BTA Bank and 3 billion on mortgage and interest holders, as well as on the so-called roadmap, which includes construction and maintenance of roads, schools and hospitals. What's at issue is that, as he mentioned, he was convinced the money would return, but this kind of money doesn't come back since there is a real issue. This money is partially embezzled. When he says the banks are not operational and don't ask for money, they do now. BTA Bank is asking for $3 billion on restructuring. They need a second restructuring, meaning the money is being embezzled and is not spent efficiently. You can see how they solve public matters, as if asking school children to find a location and build a nuclear power plant on time. What kind of approach is that? The entire world is turning away from nuclear power plants, including Europe. Let us debate. This has to do with me as a citizen. Why would these school children working with the Russians decide whether or not to construct? Kazatomprom is on the verge of merging with the Russian Rosatom. Let us first figure out whether to build or not, then decide on whether it should be in Aktau, Atarau or Lake Balkhash or elsewhere. So yesterday's speech resembled a horse-hold conversation, as if deciding on where to place a table or how to take out furniture. Deciding what to do with a nuclear power plant in front of the entire nation. Let us first hold discussions. When the president says, build an Almaty-Astana railroad as quickly as possible, let us discuss first. When will the Chinese $4 billion loans and investments be paid off? There is no traffic between Karaganda and Astana. There are no people. The existing trains are managing. We'll waste $4 billion on an express railway tomorrow. Have you ridden in these small Talgar rail cars? You'll be forced to walk sideways. You won't be able to stretch out your feet as if they are for children. There are other train cars, other trains. Let us hold the tender, but first we must calculate whether the railroad will pay off or not, because it never will. The flow of passengers in Kazakhstan is not that large. Our population is small. Or let us use the pension fund money. First create a single pension fund and give the $5.5 billion that was in it to the banks or someone else. Slow down. On what grounds? First we must discuss whether the state funds are needed. There are many private funds. So it happens that this system didn't and still doesn't justify itself, except for allowing corruption to grow rampant. Why should someone decide on what to do with our pension money? Let us hold debates and create tools. There were a lot of silly points in yesterday's speech. It indicates that the president doesn't want to discuss anything with anyone. He is a decider and that's it. What's lacking is whether it is right, wrong, economically justified or not.